Yeah, so we're at Motorcyclepedia. It's April of 2024. So Linda Herring, actually Fish, came to visit us from Florida. It's been so many years ago that I met Fish at, actually met her at the Rockland County show, 1978. And there wasn't a lot of bike shows then, but I remember you being there with some of your paint. And yeah, it was at the Rockland, whatever they call that, the field house. And anyway, the trophy is, if you'll get the trophy, here's the trophy that we had for a motorcycle, for there. I
Wow.
found that.
Wow.
And then our bike's over there, the
Wow.
one that we had on display. So basically, Fish's career is all the way from, I think you want to say 12 years old. Go ahead.
Well, let's see. I started painting in oils when I was 8. Then did my first gas tank. I was 16 in Oradell, New Jersey. They gave me a gas tank to do and lacquer paint. But before that, I was always in the arts. Ted remind me about this. I did this at 12, and that was a carving that you did block printing. So I was 12, so I was into the motorcycles.
So I didn't think, how the heck, 12 years old, you're already drawing a chopper.
I don't know why. I was just into horses and Harley Davidsons. I liked Iron Horse.
Okay.
And then I got into denim jackets. Painting the denim jackets was a thing back then because I liked my art out on the streets. And from doing acrylics on the denim, I'm in the body shop in Oradell, Paramus area, and got into lacquer paint on the motorcycles. So I get the cans of paint. And I even did that at Underground Cycle in Sloatsburg. So Mike at Underground would give me the cans of lacquer paint, and that's kind of before airbrushing came out. So with the spraying...
So initially it was by hand?
It was all paintbrush by hand. Yeah. The airbrush, I had an airbrush, but they didn't have paint for an airbrush. So I used the lacquer paint with the thinner, and my airbrush was really hard to do. But I did it, and did that for years. But mostly paintbrush.
Because people don't realize even the equipment and the paint. What was there later on? There was just lacquer and enamel. Then they came out with Emerald or something, different paints. And now...
even the colors were limited. It was, you're limited on the colors. Now the variety and the type of paint today is off the chain. It's unbelievable.
So I think, the number of, works that you did, of course, it would being that many years ago, not that many maybe survived, but I think there's enough out there to represent you and, to fit it in with the culture and the history of that time because, the motorcycle, the gas tanks changed, the styles, the front end.
Gosh, so it was wonderful.
The period, you can kind of tell when it was.
Yeah, the custom and the variety and what they would take and they would build, totally different than today.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Harley, as you mentioned.
Well, even a Triumph that turned it, or a Sportster that turned into a chopper. We did it all, and everything was accepted. And then, like your dad with the Indian bikes.
He liked
I never forget him with the Indian bikes. I used to sit with him when he do the wheels.
Yeah, he did the wheels. He must have did, I don't know, he must have did thousands.
I'd sit there because I'm like, well, how does he do that? And I'd watch his dad,
Yeah, he stopped doing them. He was probably in his late, maybe early 90s he stopped. He just...
he had so much patience with
to do them.
Yes.
But, so we had, between all your documents, we had most of them scanned in. Here it is, Linda.
I used to be into Frank Frazetta, Boris Vallejo, the album covers. I used to tell the guys, pick out a picture. When you pick out a picture, I can do it. It's just like Hippie with his girl, Lady Luck. He gave me a photo of his girl, and I did her on his gas tank.
And that's something that, whatever period that was, of course,
it 70s.
Would be impossible. A lot of murals were, a lot of bikes had the mural and whatever the guy picked out from an album cover or whatever. And I know that's a mural one there. And Finch painted that bike. He came to visit one day and recognized that, although that's not one of his star works. I mean, they worked for their own projects and then they would do some for people as a job. But that's in California. I don't know, the Metal Flake and the Flames. But the portraits and hand painting was a particular period, but you mentioned, Frank Frazetta had a lot of the. I don't know if he actually had in any of his work. Did he have motorcycles in any of them? I can't remember.
David Mann, I got into David Mann with
Yeah,
the chop.
because he did the choppers.
Yeah, I like the chop, so I like doing the choppers, like on the back of my car and things like that too.
Yeah, I have the one with you with the car, with the
Yeah,
car window.
I was 17 years old.
So that's a long.
And I would advertise my home phone number on the back of the car.
But I think, and too, in your style, but then you took different aspects. I know early on, then you actually, you migrated the tattooing into it.
Well, yes.
You only had one tattoo?
I
or
had
one?
two. Well, right after that show, I got my second tattoo.
Okay.
Because the guy that did Joni Mitchell on his band is the one that got me that other tattoo. And then I hooked up with Tattoo Danny, which back then you didn't learn tattooing unless you knew a tattoo artist. There was no school.
Yeah, then you went all.
Then I put it into medical field. I'm the girl with right to live to ride on the cheeks of her ass.
Oh.
Back in the
Way back.
way back. I was a lot younger then. They would never put me on the cover of any of the biker magazines because I had more tattoos than the guys. So I only got inside the magazines because Casey, he said I intimidated the men. They wouldn't have bought the magazines.
But I think, and then bringing that, I think probably the biggest thing with all your experience in the art and the detail and whatever, but bringing it into the idea of the permanent makeup. It's not like, oh, I just want to do permanent makeup.
I liked my art on the streets, and then people got to live my art. Just like going from clothes to the skin. But when you're doing somebody's face, it's like having a non-surgical facelift. And then in Florida, you have a lot of women, they're older. So older people didn't get tattooed over 70, so I got a couple on the cover of Outlaw Biker when they got matching tattoos at 70 because it was rare for older people to get tattooed. Then I put it into the older people because I had to master that because of their skin as being so different and doing eyelids, eyebrows, and they can't see and the shaky hands. So older people
So
really.
you wake up, you look the same.
I'm always perfect.
And that's what it says, perfect makeup.
And I'm a woman, I'm always right, Ted.
Okay, you're right. So when I met Linda, she was a young, innocent little girl, and I think, what is she doing in the motorcycle hobby?
Yeah.
I think it wasn't as mainstream as it is now.
Oh,
There's
no,
a lot
not
of
at all.
regular people riding bikes or whatever.
It was
and then
totally
it
different.
got into all the people with the pink shirts or whatever. And but the base of it was the chopper type.
Oh, yes, the
outlaw
custom chopper.
custom.
And then being in New York, it was summertime. So in the winter, the bikes would be laid up. Building the bikes all winter, I had time to paint them. Then
And that gave the guy more
time to work on the bike.
Because in reality, that's when he had like 4 or 5 months to do something.
Yes.
Time and money to do it.
And I remember I would tell the guy, you want that on your bike? Give me 6 weeks. I'd have it done in 5. But I always wanted an extra week. So I was always on time.
Yeah, so what else did we have? So we had a lot of tanks that you did over the
Yeah, and
years.
back then we didn't have cameras all the time. We didn't have the film. You'd have to have a roll of film. So if something would go and I wouldn't even get a picture.
Well, I think and people didn't take as many.
And the thing is, you didn't even know if you took a picture, if it came out, until you went to get it developed. Times were different.
And you talk about the phones now, like the new, whatever, the newest ones, it's the same as a good camera.
Yeah.
So, yes. So that changed.
And then the ink over time, too, with the quality of the pictures. Now, using the paint when I did, everything held up. Now, when I did denim, after they washed the vest for so many times, they start fading out. But the tanks never did that I've ever seen. I went from lacquer to acrylic. All of a sudden, I realized I could use acrylic paint. I was so happy. But that gave me a whole different... Yeah. I didn't have to wait and deal with the lacquer.
But you mentioned you met somebody in a body shop.
Yes.
You did something on a car.
Yeah. That's where I started in Oradell. And it was a body shop where now I forgot his name, but he did the trunk of my car for me. He did the clearing. He gave me a gas tank and said, "Here, Fish, why don't you paint this tank?" I was Fish back then. I've been Fish since I'm 15 because my thing is I would sign like the best of my paintings. Who's going to remember Linda Herring? My name could change. So my dad gave me his nickname. We're both Pisces. So with the Fish and the Pisces, I've been Fish since I'm 15, which was great because people always remember my name. And I was Miss Fish.
Okay.
Then I was a Mama Fish, Nana Fish, and I'm Lady Fish.
So anyway, we worked on the neon for Fish, and we kept going back and forth. And Shirley was there. We did it. We had to get the caricature with the lips
You
and the
want
eyebrows.
lips and the brows because that's what I do.
So once we got that settled,
I'm like, I can't believe it. I am stoked. I love that I'm in neon lights in your place.
and he always said that thing. You
I
know,
freaking love
and
it.
a lot of people, there is people that come in, the East Coast, because East Coast is relatively compact, like Jersey people are here or whatever. But we're getting so far away from that time, so you're not meeting as many people that know, about the history. A lot of people, I don't know about these young guys. Were you born after 2000? That means,
And then West Coast was different than East Coast, even with the magazines.
yes.
So here, even with the tattooing. So I lived both in, I had the East Coast. But West Coast was totally different ball game too.
But I don't know if the West Coast, they believe, that's the epicenter. Everything comes from the West Coast, all the styles. I mean, with the beach scene, blonde hair and everything.
But that's one, yeah.
But basically, as far as bike building, a lot of detail on the East Coast because it was maybe, I don't know, people were more mechanical, they worked in factories.
And you had the whole East Coast.
Yeah, and it's concentrated. You take New Jersey, there was a lot going on. And I kept checking with you. You didn't remember, I don't know, Joe the Beatnik.
Well, I know
But you
Joe,
knew the
but
name.
I knew the name Joe the Beatnik,
Yes.
but I never knew Joe the Beatnik.
But anyway, we have
Yeah.
one of his
Yes.
tanks.
But I knew
we
of
found.
him.
Yes. He passed away, I don't know, quite a few, maybe 15 years ago. But, he learned, he worked, he was in his mother's whatever deli
Yep.
in Nyack or somewhere, and he's hand painting the tanks out on the sidewalk. And he kept doing
Yeah, the
it. But-
pinstriping and
yes.
then the flames, they did the airbrush and the
Yeah, the
flames and
flames.
stuff. It's like my son paints now, they do the fire flames. So they've even taken, the new generation has taken things and upgraded to even more.
And explain the fire flame?
Oh my gosh, it looks like fire. He did overlays and everything, where we did the old school flames, which was laid out and
Yeah.
pinstriped, okay? That was my time period. But what they do now is off the chain too. So it's nice seeing how things have evolved. And then with the computers, how they
Yeah.
do computer art.
Well,
Back
that
then we
took, I
didn't have it.
And I think the computer art took a lot away because everybody's doing it on a desktop
Yes,
where
yes.
everything was from scratch before.
That's what I seen with tattooing. Same thing. You only had a stencil outline.
Remember the stencils would hang on the wall?
I did all the stencils. I have a whole box of
What was it,
acetate stencils.
It was a bunch of holes,
Well,
right?
I had to carve it. It wasn't until later I got an electric carver. But I got a lump still here from carving stencils for tattooing. And then you come in and pick out a
Yeah,
number.
and
A number, and then you'd have a file. Now you can have anything because of computers. And they can lay that right on the skin and just copy it.
But look what they did with the ink, though. They've got the
Oh,
different
gosh.
tones
We
and
only
everything.
had primary colors
Right.
back in the time. Tattooing, we didn't even have brown. I mean, I've lived all that.
Because you think of the guys, because
Even
people...
with the paint, I could only use the paint that they were painting a car with. So it's like, okay, do you have blue? Well, what shade of blue? I had to use whatever they were painting a
Yeah.
car with. So I was limited, and I had to make it work and blend it. But my thing is I started in oil painting. So I used to go to school for oils.
Right.
And I love doing portraits.
So basically, your artwork started as very young, as a
8
child.
years old, 8 years
Okay.
old. And I love doing people. I did men, women, kids.
So an actual hand.
I'd go out there and do a landscape. I was back doing people like Boris Vallejo, I love the Viking women, you
Okay.
know. Yeah, people are beautiful. And if I can take somebody that as they age, I can knock them down and make them even look better without surgery.
You can
See, there's a way.
thing is without
Non-surgery. I
surgery.
do it without surgery. I can do it because I'm an artist. And I get people I've done 27 years ago still come
Really?
back to me over 10, 20 years. I pull them out of my closet and work on and redo them, and I can change them. I've even taken men and I can turn them into women, so don't mess with me, Ted.
Yeah, I thought about it.
I do that too.
And what was it? A guy said, "Oh, so as you're losing hair, they had." I said, "Well, wait a minute."
I tattoo their heads with hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going. Okay, because you could. What was that hair club for men?
Yes, yes.
You paint your hair
yes,
black.
Yes. Well,
You paint your skull.
I tattoo their hair, but that's boring. I don't like doing that. It's boring. But I can do scar camouflage. I do cancer for women with cancer, their breasts. I can still do it without, make it look like there's a nipple and there's no nipple. So,
That's it.
and I even have an NPI number just like a doctor. I pulled that out because I was one of the first to do it. I did everything I wasn't supposed to do, and I did it and made it right. Because I seen all the possibilities with everything.
But I think the idea to make people, the permanent makeup, I mean, people at almost at any age, what's the youngest person you've worked
16,
on?
she got kicked by a horse. I have another girl that got her face ripped off by a dog, but she was older. But I'll take somebody, and somebody with a hair lip, I can give them a normal lip without surgery.
Really?
But I don't want to be just tied down to hospitals. So I stay independent. Now
But you would have a hospital. There's not that many people. Who would you call? You'd have to.
Nobody does what I
That's
do.
it.
And I'm not one that puts all this fake stuff out there. Like they have marketing now, and they're not actually showing the true procedure. But that's the new technology now. My clients are word of mouth, people that I've worked on, and they'll tell other people. I've done 3 generations. I might have done 4 now. So if I've done somebody's mother, I've done their kid, I've done their grandmother, their mother.
No, it's starting. But your rest of your skin tones, everything matches. But can they do?
Good genes.
Can you?
I got good genes.
Can you do the? Now you don't do the actual. Can you change the skin tone?
I don't do that. I don't do facials.
No, but I mean, okay, to get the actual.
Yeah, well, people that do facials, I don't do that. I'm just been blessed, But I do eyebrows, eyeliner, lips, and I tell Ted, my lips leave no marks where I've been.
Yeah. I don't ask you, how old were you when you worked on your own?
That's a good
10
question.
years?
Oh, more than 10 years.
Really?
And nobody's ever. I do my own face.
You can do your own
My
face?
problem now is taking off my glasses. Okay, so as I've gotten older, I've always done myself. This is my work. So when somebody comes in and wants to see they're seeing my work. Problem is now glasses, prescription, trying to do my eyeliner.
Now the eyeliner, I don't know how you do a tattoo on your eyelid, but okay.
I'm heavily tattooed from I have an Oriental bodysuit. And the thing is, it's all in your head. It's mind control.
Yeah, that's a whole you.
And women can sit better than a man. It's just the way it is. And then I talk, so then they get interested in what I'm talking about. And they get them sidetracked. And I tell them I'm not a robot. A robot can't do what I do.
So you won't be replaced by AI
No robot.
or anything.
No.
But yeah, so that was the East Coast was, and it probably went. It never really died, but of course the building, it slowed down. But
Yes, it really
it's
has.
it's still there, and everybody dreams of building their own motorcycle, and they pick the paint out.
Yeah.
And of course, a paint job now, like on a big full dresser, I don't know,
Oh,
that
like
5,000.
a bagger. It's so,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even want to do one today.
Really?
No, my son does.
Okay.
And now I think he's even kind of done because it's a lot of work when you do it a big bagger.
Big pieces, yeah.
And me, I love the old school bikes because I'd have the tank. I'd do maybe the front, the
And
fender,
there
the
wasn't
back.
much sheet metal, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The little tank, a little half a fender.
I could plop it in my lap and work on it while watching TV. The way they are now, it's a lot of work. And I wouldn't have the patience. My dad told me when I got older I'd have less patience.
Did your dad do anything with artwork?
No, he was an engineer.
Okay.
But my father's father was into tattoos.
Okay.
I never knew it. Found out later after I was into tattooing that my grandfather was. And then what it was, my great-grandfather was a lithograph artist. So
Okay.
that's all dotting.
Okay.
So I think that's where it came from. My siblings don't have the talent, but my son does.
But
My
I saw a
son
guy
has it.
doing the dots, but then he could actually do the shadows and
Yes,
everything, all
well,
with
with
dots.
dots.
And it was nothing more than a dot.
That's the way they're doing it with the technique now. But it takes a whole lot more time. And then really you can't have any sun. But it's almost like, well, airbrushing's, different again. And I still love a paintbrush. I love blending paint. But I haven't done that in a long time because I'm too busy with the permanent makeup.
And I see people that, most of the good, even the sign artist or, the auto door,
Yeah.
whatever, almost everybody's went over to the vinyl
Yeah,
with the
vinyl.
computer, and you'll never see something by hand again.
No, it's very rare.
So the old truck doors got very
Everybody- yes.
collectible. Oh, it's hand painted.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll
Every
take it.
once in a while, I see somebody, they're airbrushing, they're
Yeah.
painting and stuff like that. But yeah, the computers, the printers all have taken over. I could only do a photo projection just to get the outline. Like I've done garage doors,
Okay.
and I would project. And then that was just for the outline. That's it.
But you can
But now
scale
that-
it to whatever you need. Yeah.
Yeah, that way I could visualize it before I do it. But I didn't do that on the bikes. I've done a lot of stuff.
A lot of more than you can count.
I even did
after-
the garage door, and I changed out the pinup girl with her clothes with like paper dolls, and I use magnets.
Okay.
So I can take her outfits on and off.
Where was I? Oh, with Rob the other day, and his kids had those. And I said, I remember those.
Paper
The
dolls.
color forms.
Oh, color forms
You
just
took
like
the little
magic.
plastic dress and you put them.
Yes, well, that's what I do with my garage door.
And you dress them.
I could turn her into a witch, 4th of July, Christmas time, and then I put her back to a bikini.
But anyway, let's take a. If Sean can walk a little bit, we'll go look at the pumpkin puss. The pumpkin puss. There was a guy in Rockland County did it, and I don't know. He called himself Middle Earth.
I don't remember. him.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's the only thing he ever did. I don't know. Period. He must have did other things.
Back in my day, it was Joe the Beatnik and me.
Yes.
And then Joe the Beatnik had a different style than me, so it was cool.
Yeah, because he didn't do any handwork,
No,
any
no,
hand art.
no.
All his
The
whatever
spray airbrushing thing.
candy over and a
Yeah.
little bit of flake. He wasn't a real big flake guy either.
And Mike at Underground was really good because he did all my prep work.
Okay.
And then he'd say, okay, now we're going to do this. He'd get me set up, and then he'd do my clearing and my finish. So I only had to do the artwork, which was great with Mike.
Yeah, this was metal. He had a lot of metal flake. Even this. I mean, I don't know who
Yeah.
it is. Let's see who it is. Tom Downey. Each town kind of had a painter, but anyway, we'll look.
Yes, and you have so much in here. I haven't even had a chance to turn around and go through this stuff yet.
So this is the one. That's I think it's one. We only had this in a couple shows, and one was the Rockland,
I don't remember this one.
and then we had the machine gun one there. I know I started it up, and then the guy yelled at me.
Oh,
'Cause-
because they don't want you
Yeah,
to
no, we don't want
something.
anybody running on
Yeah.
it because it was whatever the floor is in a basketball court. What was it, wood or some type?
You remember that stuff,
Yeah.
Ted?
I remember getting yelled at. I mean, the guy called me an asshole or something, and then after
Don't
that,
do that.
yeah. But
Oh, my-
anyway, yeah. So we did that, and our guys did the mechanical work, and yeah. So
Constructed 1977.
Middle Earth Design, Spring Valley. Yeah. I don't know whatever happened to him. This tank was made by the guy in Hackensack. It was a guy that made gas tanks.
And that's when they all started coming out.
Yeah, with the panels.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember with the bike show Mike at Underground had that setup, and I painted all the bikes that were in his setup, which was cool.
Yeah, this one they did all the, besides, the paint and the metalwork and the plastic.
See, now my son's doing stuff like that, or like even somebody that's racing a bike for legs to go into.
Okay, the shape.
Yeah, he just did one for one of the guys. So he's doing beyond. But then he grew up with all this stuff, so he keeps excelling into all the new
And that's what it is. A lot of times it's a family, his dad, his uncle, and
he
and
was always at
follows
the
from
show.
that.
Yeah, he followed through with everything. Because we'd take him to the shows and stuff. He loved it. And he still does. Now I send him pictures from here. He's definitely going to have to come up here.
Now, you did visit some relatives this trip.
Yeah, my uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was nice. I've had a good time coming up here. Because I moved out of here in '86. And I come up here and I'm totally lost. And I can't believe, because I know your original place.
Right. Even that Stewart Airport, that whole strip.
I was right there at the main entrance.
Yeah, I remember right by the
I lived in the trailer
deli.
park.
Yes.
I lived in the trailer park.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was in the trailer park. Then I got that house and made it Skin Art and Fish's Fantasies.
Then later, another bike shop ended up there.
Oh, did they?
It's some guy, Eddie, or Orange County Bobbers. But he was there like 10 years maybe. So now it's all redone with glass.
Oh, okay. I haven't been over there. Yes, Paul Sr. was at my house back in the day when he first started.
Yes.
And got his tattoo there at my house. His first Harley tattoo.
And he's originally from Rockland.
Yes.
He came up here, and he was always a pretty good guy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Of course, he got on TV, which was nice. But yeah, so anyway, I remember visiting Danny at the tattoo
parlor.
You were at the shop too on Broadway.
Well, that's when I first
down by
hooked
the
up.
firehouse
At the
down.
end. Yep, the police station down
the
there.
police station was there.
East Coast Tattoo.
Okay.
1978.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what we did. You guys or Danny had got a trike. Something we did. We did something for him.
Okay.
Yeah. So we took the engine out, or we did something. So Gary and I went down there, and he says, "Oh, I owe you guys a tattoo."
Okay.
So I'm saying, okay, I'll be back.
You didn't come
So
back.
anyway, he wanted to give it.
I was painting gas tanks downstairs of the tattoo parlor. I'd be down there painting. Yeah. So you didn't get a tattoo.
No, so that was it. I escaped.
You escaped.
Gary too. I don't know if he did any. But.
Yeah, that was old school tattoos back then. Your museum is amazing.
Yeah, so I think we covered quite a bit, as far as, it's a long story, so.
Yeah, trying to make it.
To do.
We don't want to drag it out too far.
To do 50.
But I ain't done yet.
To do 50 years in
well, 50
30 minutes.
plus.
Yes.
50 plus,
But thanks for visiting. Thanks for coming up.
Ted, it means the world to me that you go. I love you,
Good,
Ted.
thank you.
my
Thanks
God.
for coming up.
Oh.
To see you after that long, or to see somebody.
I was at your shop prior to that bike show.
Okay.
I think I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you would have came up with some of the guys.
Yes, I did, out of Jersey.
I would have been looking at you, but you were too young.
I was a young schoolgirl.
Yeah, high school. I'm thinking, oh man.
Yes.
High school girl.
Yes. Yeah. But I love motorcycle world. I love the bike world. So that's who I hung out
And
with.
thanks for being a part of it. Thank you.
No, thanks for having me in here.
You're actually still connected to the same stream of, the artwork.
Yeah.
And you morphed into something else, and rightly so. I mean,
and who knows? I might go back into painting bikes. I got people wanting, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I want to ride my motorcycle.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. I saw you have a trike.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hoity-toity. I even got reverse.
Oh.
I'm VIP. And I got a temporary tattoo on the back too. And my bike's not painted because I never painted it. Been trying for years to get my son to paint it.
Right.
He's too busy. And then I put my barcode on the back of my motorcycle, so if somebody takes a picture of my ass, they can pull up my website.
Okay. So.
I'm sorry. But whoever does that, and it says ride with makeup.
Okay.
So here I combine the permanent makeup with riding a Harley.
Right. Now, do you? Oh, when you say you have the bark, You mean you have the QR?
Yeah, is that what it is? QR.
And the QR is a tattoo?
Well, you take a picture of it. It's on my website. Always
Okay.
Perfect. And you're on my website.
Okay.
And then the museum's going to be more on the website. So I've combined the
Permanent
tattoo. Yeah, Always Perfect.
Now, Guy, anybody could use a little more coloring. You could do you could touch up your
Oh, yeah.
sideburns.
I could do you, Ted.
You're getting these guys.
I can't help it. The older I get, the worser I get.
I think once you get a certain age, it's an automatic
I
license. You
can't
do
get,
whatever you.
I can't get grounded anymore. Who's going to ground me? Go to your room.
Yeah.
I'll go to Ted's.
Good. Yeah, there's a lot more to do, but thanks again.
No, I thank you. I have been so excited
Right.
being here.
We got the neon.
Oh my gosh, I'm in neon lights.
We enjoyed doing.
All these people, most of these, it's all men. I did something being a female that
And I'd have to say that if we go through every piece here,
men,
I don't know if there's
all men.
any that a woman.
No. And maybe two, maybe.
I can't even.
I did everything I wasn't supposed to do, but I seen all the positives in it. So I didn't, and I just kept doing it.
And I think the idea where they didn't consider motorcycles art. I know Dali with his Salvatore Dali.
Oh, yeah.
He believed that the chopper was, it was mobile art. I mean,
Yes.
it's just everybody
I
enjoys
love my
it.
art on the street.
Yeah, he says the rider, the viewer, everybody.
I used to even make clothes, needlepoint bar, Jello I designed and did. I was into arts and crafts, but to have my art out on the streets, and it started a lot with the denim. But then I'd do the denim, and then I'd match it with the bike.
Well, the denim got to be, whatever year the denim was, 76, 77, because it just went, everything was denim.
Denim.
Including the upholstery. The
Yeah,
Jeep had a
everything denim.
The Gremlin.
And I love paint, but then the paint would soak in. I'd have to do 3 layers. So it was more work. And then on the bikes, I'm just trying to get the paint on there without drying through the air. Yeah, different ball game.
Well, we'll keep going.
Yeah, don't stop.
We have
Ted.
more to do.
Oh, man.
We have more to do.
Oh, we're not done yet, Ted.
No.
Uh-oh, we can get
Got
in
another-
trouble. He knows me since I was a young schoolgirl.
Schoolgirl.
Oh, I love him. I love he's got me in here.